I want to have enough money so that I don't have to do things I don't want to do. In this video, we talk about the relationship between freedom and control, the relationship between money and freedom, how buying new things and current spending impacts long-term goals, and do you really have to wait until you retire to do the things you want to do? So stay tuned. I want to have enough money so that I don't have to do things I don't want to do. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes back to, we do a money scripts assessment, and one of the questions or one of the statements is money buys freedom. And a lot of times for folks who have this as a goal, they agree that money buys freedom. And, I agree to some extent that money can buy freedom. It can free us from undue labor. It can free us from having to work in places or for people that we don't want to, doing jobs that we don't want to. So I completely understand the thought of, I want to have enough money that I don't have to do things I don't want to do. When I hear freedom also, I think there's a relationship between freedom and control. And what I hear people saying when they say that is, I want control over my life. I want control over where I work, what I do, who I work with, where I live. I want the freedom that comes from having money. And I think that's a valid goal. And especially if you're in the United States, there are a lot of expenses that rack up, and ways that health insurance and student loans and housing prices and grocery prices have all stacked on top of each other to keep some people in positions or at jobs or doing things that they don't want to do, but they have to do to provide for themselves and for their families. And so I think that's a really valid goal. And I think it's a really noble thing for us to help people strategize their way to and through, is how much do I need so that I can have enough to live my life on my terms. And I enjoy doing financial freedom plans for people.
A few things that you said, the relationship between freedom and control. So the thought that money does buy freedom, and some people equating freedom to control. Also understanding that freedom means different things for different people. So understanding what specifically does freedom mean for you. A lot of times it is control over time, control over energy. And so being able to define what freedom means, to align that with what you are trying to accomplish, and also backing into, on a different note, I want to have enough money so that I don't have to do things I don't want to do. How much is enough? Like, what is your enough money? What do you want to be able to do? And so I enjoy thinking through that and having the conversations with a lot of our clients also, because it forces them to think more. It forces them to think through it. Okay, so what do I want my lifestyle to be? How much money does that cost? Does it make sense for me to earn this much money or have this much money? And just thinking differently about it, as opposed to, I want to have enough money. All right, so what do you want to do to get that money? Are we on track to get that money? How can we put this into place?
Yeah. I think it's always good also that once we've clearly defined how much, and we've set some targets for when we'd like to achieve it, and we talked about what it would take to achieve it, then we can start looking at a lot of the consumerism driven behavior that's getting in the way. So your car currently works great. You've paid it off or you're near paying it off. Buying a new car gets in the way, right? We also really like to travel, and we have a choice between a road trip to North Carolina coast or a flight to Italy and a trip in Italy, right? Vacation's important, but which vacation we choose, how much we choose to spend on this vacation dictates how soon or if ever we get to this financial freedom space. So I think back to what really good goal setting allows you to do is if we've clearly defined an income level and a lifestyle that we need to accumulate money to achieve, then extra expenses prolong your ability to do that. So we can really think critically about, do we need to upgrade our house? Do we need to upgrade our car? Do we need to upgrade our clothes? Do we need to take on these expenses of buying more things? Or can we really diligently, consistently chase what we defined as our financial freedom point?
I think that's a big part of budgeting or creating a spending plan, budgeting for lack of a better word, but a spending plan. So you know that in order for me to hit this long-term goal, I need to set aside this much money at these intervals with the expectation that tomorrow, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years later, this will likely be the end result. And if there's any decisions or choices that I make today to pull from me being intentional with where my money goes to hit those goals, is just making you have to either wait longer to hit the goal or just finding a different way to make sure you can get the money to where you need it. So
Mm-hmm. I do want to talk about the relationship between money and freedom. It's interesting. So I think about anytime I see a statement, I see if the opposite can be true, right? If money can cause you to not have freedom. And there's tons of instances. The first one that really hit home to me was when I was sitting there watching the Meghan Markle Oprah interview, where she was literally a princess and she had no freedom, right? And that she had all the money. Everyone's like, stop complaining about your life. You're rich, you're royalty. And she explains that from day to day, she had zero freedom. Britney Spears' book just came out and Lauren listened to it and I heard clips of that. Money, no freedom, right? We work with some executives who have worked to build a skill set and to climb the corporate ladder only to get there and have no freedom, to not be taking your 3 weeks vacation that you've been given because no one in the company does. So there are a lot of instances where money does not equal freedom. And we have to define, Fred, you were perfect. You have to define what freedom means to you. And sometimes the money gets in the way. I also think about with parents and children that sometimes the shackle of the money you're inheriting or the prescription of what you should do with your life from your parents, that the money is actually shackling and getting in the way of you living the life you want to. So I do not believe that money equals freedom always. And in a lot of cases, money can be the enemy of freedom. And we have to figure out how to use money and not let the money use us.
I think another part of this statement, when I break it down, I want to have enough money so that I don't have to do things I don't want to do. What is it that you want to do? And so this is twofold, right? Because a lot of times when people say this, it's a future goal as far as retirement sometimes. And so being able to save enough money so that you can stop working where you are working, right? Or just doing things you don't want to do. And a lot of times we think, or at least sometimes I think when I hear this, once you get to your retirement age, you're not just going to stop working.
Yeah.
A lot of times you'll find something else to do. We encourage you not to stop working, right? There's data. I don't know the data. It's probably also in the Bible somewhere. Once you stop working and doing stuff, your body will go backwards, right? But also, like, you'll need something to do with your time. And so finding something that you want to do with your time in retirement that can make money, but also understanding or thinking through why do you have to wait until that age to do something that you want to do for money? Like, why can you not at your current 30s and 40s do what you want to do for money? And how those relate. Thoughts there?
I agree. There are a lot of people we start working with that are slowly shifting their skill set towards the things that they want to do, right? I pick on attorneys and accountants a lot, but some of the larger firms with attorneys and some of the larger firms with accountants, the big four, they work at a level that after 6 or 7 years, folks are saying, I don't want to work at that level anymore, right? And the money's good. And so they, a lot of times their thought is, I'm going to do this for another 10 years, and then I want to be able to walk away, right? And because I don't really like doing it, but the money's good, and I would be crazy to walk away from this much money, right? My mom would think I'm an idiot. My dad, my family would think I'm crazy to walk away from this much money. But it's actually slowly killing me from the stress and from I'm not having any time to do any of the things I want to do because of the workload, because of the stress load. And, we really try to discover alternatives of using your same skill set to make enough money, but also get some of your life back and get some of your freedom back and, lower the stress. And so, a lot of times instead of it being a 25-year, at age 50, I'm going to step down. You can actually make a transition at age 37, 39, 40 away from a career path that's harmful into a career path that's more sustainable, that might give you more time off, that may give you more time with your family, that might give you more location freedom to work remote or work hybrid. And if we can do that, a lot of times it's worth making a little bit less to have a better quality of life. And so I completely agree. We don't have to just think about it as an age 60 goal. We can think about it as an ongoing goal, because there was a new article that came out that said our generation and behind, people in their 40s, 30s, and lower, chances are they're going to work 40, 50-year careers. And it was like saying a 50-year career. So if that's true, that you should look at it differently. Instead of a 30-year sprint, it's more of a marathon that you can take time off. You can take sabbaticals. You can start a business. You can do different phases of your career instead of staying in a straight line until you turn 59 and a half and then stepping down and quitting. Well, if you enjoyed this video, like this video, subscribe. If you know somebody who's, you think has these questions, share this video with them. We appreciate you listening. And if you'd like to hear more from us or hear our writings, check us out at www.alchemistwealth.com. And last but not least, if you are interested in having conversations like this, if you've been struggling or just thinking through what it looks like to do money differently and use it to your best interest, feel free to schedule time to meet with us. We love to talk to you. Peace.